WWE's plans for Cody Rhodes' return have been revealed. We have an update on a former WWE star's AEW contract, and a big return has been planned for the Royal Rumble of 2023. Find out who in a little tickle. Adrenaline in my soul, something Cody Rhodes. He's coming back, isn't he, Fraser?
Yes,
What is the news from Dave Meltzer?
So Dave Meltzer's been talking some stuff about Cody coming back, and he says WWE's planning to resume Cody Rhodes' pre-injury feud with Seth Rollins. Now, that's crazy because if he's coming back, he's been out for how many months at this point?
9 it'll be. If the timeline's correct, like from when he got injured in the summer, 9 months was the time frame given, so it could be 9 months by the time he comes back.
The only person he'll have feuded with will be Seth Rollins.
And it's very interesting for two more reasons that I can think of. First and foremost, who's going to be the babyface and who's going to be the heel in that thing?
Because Seth's a face now.
Seth's recently turned face. Cody would return as America's hero and presumably a babyface. And also, all roads, no pun intended, but very much intended as well, are pointing towards Cody Rhodes coming back and maybe taking on Roman for one of the titles at WrestleMania, while maybe The Rock gets the other one on a different night. So what does that mean for that as well?
I think it's one of those feuds that they might just... Whoever Cody faces is going to get kind of booed at the moment because it's Cody Rhodes. As you said, he's America's favourite son.
I don't know, because if Cody comes back and gets the rest of the arc that Sami Zayn could have had if they had the balls to do it, Cody would get booed, I think, because the investment's there so much with Sami Zayn that Cody taking that spot, it would be like Roman Reigns in 2015, that sort of heat.
Yeah, think about it now. Yeah, it really would be. But I think... But Cody's so cool. He's got the adrenaline, and he's coming back, and he's still. But he's been recently, he's been training with top level trainers to get him ready for that return. He's trying to get hench. He's trying to get big. He is hench.
He's swole.
Nah, look at these. Look at those. Nothing
Flappy
on
bingo
us.
wings.
Nothing
What are you pointing at me
us.
for? But it is going to be interesting to see what Cody Rhodes does when eventually he does return, whenever that is. It should be the Rumble, shouldn't it? For maximum impact.
Have him and Seth be the last two in the Rumble, and then you can set them up for, I don't know, Elimination Chamber or whatever the pay-per-view, if they're going to keep going with Elimination Chamber. Have them set up a match, and then... Because I'd also want to see Seth versus Reigns at WrestleMania, and it feels like it could be an option. But have a tussle between them. Have a tussle.
Moving over the divide now, we have contract news about a former WWE guy who is now an AEW guy, but not quite an AEW guy. Why is that, Fraser?
Well, again, Dave Meltzer's been chatting, and he's saying that Trent Seven is not currently signed to AEW, but he's working on a per-show deal, so a per-appearance deal, but is not with the company full-time, which is not surprising. We've not seen the all-elite graphic that you tend to get with these full-timers in AEW. Are you excited to see Trent in
He can
AEW?
fulfill a role. I mean, the AEW roster is very much bloated, so I don't know if they need Trent Seven, but he has a role to fill, and he's been doing it well so far. Obviously being brought in as Kip Sabian's mystery opponent and doing well in that sort of role. But again, it'd be nice to see. It's weird because on one hand the roster is so bloated, but on the other hand we have instances where I think back to when Nick Gage was used in the MJF and Jericho feud, where one-off appearances can work to fit a story, and I think this one could work in that sort of vein.
Because I keep going back and forth on it. I think his appearance was unexpected, and it was like, oh cool, this is Trent Seven in AEW, that it makes sense for who he is and how much experience he's got. But at the same time, there's so many other people that I feel could be fitting that role that they've already got on the roster, who already have that experience. He'd be one hell of a coach. Like really great coach for folk that are younger in the company. But
I would say he's arguably more of a Ring of Honor guy than an AEW guy, because I think that's what we're all waiting for now, is to see how the rosters are going to be divided up with this new Ring of Honor thing that's happening in the future. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll see him there. Give him a TV title opportunity, because him versus Joe. Oof, that would be a good match.
That would be a tit-slapping match, wouldn't it, Fraser?
Oh, yes.
Speaking of tit-slapping, Chris Jericho was in New Japan Pro Wrestling and presumably did a few of those tit-slaps.
He did some chops, yeah.
Choppy, yes. But Dave Meltzer's once again been talking about Chris Jericho, and it sort of came out that Chris Jericho, from Dave Meltzer, got paid $100,000 per shot when he was wrestling for New Japan against Kenny Omega and all that sort of stuff all those years ago. But Dave Meltzer's also said that Chris Jericho was underpaid for those shots because of the revenue he drove. He drove to New Japan through New Japan World subscriptions and pay-per-view buy, all that sort of stuff. But now we have some comparisons made between Chris Jericho in those times and someone else who's going to potentially be appearing for New Japan in January. Who is it going to be, Fraser?
Sasha Banks.
Are you still hungover from the Christmas party on Friday? Because my brain is still frazzled.
Yes. Well, Sasha Banks, all the news about her recently is that she's going to New Japan, that there's a contract there, a per appearance deal, and with Meltzer saying it's more than what Jericho is making, and it's the highest contract that Bushiroad has ever sort of paid anyone, which is wild. If 100,000 is the deal that he's saying, if it's more than that, that's a lot of money for however many dates she's going to be wrestling. But Jericho has responded to this because he said, "For the record, the money I reportedly made during my run with New Japan Pro Wrestling from 2018 to 2020 is currently completely wrong." He says that's Meltzer's talking rubbish. He said, I was never paid a flat per appearance. He was paid according to the event, and I made more per event than I did for most of my WrestleMania matches. But he's saying 100,000 is not correct. Now, speculation-wise, it could be more, it could be less. I assume he was paid more.
Yeah. Just because of that WrestleMania bit.
For the WrestleMania bit, and for the fact that if he was paid even a share of the revenue for each event, he's going to be making more than what that deal was. I feel like Sasha Banks earning more than that, for me, it's not that it's not believable, but it's a lot of money to put on someone who might not draw as much revenue as Jericho. I don't know what's your thoughts on that one.
I guess it's a roll of the dice with any of these sort of situations when you bring people in to do things like you go back to Vince McMahon and Mike Tyson in the late 90s. Sorry, that was a roll of the dice, and that one paid off. Could this Sasha Banks one pay off? I've got no idea. I know that New Japan have got this Wrestle Kingdom this year where they've got like at the start of the month, obviously January 4th. Then at the end of the month they've got another event, which I assume maybe Sasha Banks could set up a match, or I was just Mercedes will set up a match with Kyrie. I assume that's what people are saying at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like that's where it'll likely go. Kyrie Sane being the IWGP Women's Champion currently, it feels like maybe Sasha, or as you say, Mercedes, whatever name she'll go under, that's the natural progression. The two biggest stars that also have the crossover appeal to the American audience and or just the Western audience in general. That's the match you want to be putting the money behind, and maybe it cost them 100,000.
And maybe we won't find out if it's been a success or a failure until that match has been out the way, and then we see what business the match has done itself, rather than just the appearance that could potentially set up the match. If that makes any sense, Fraser.
I'm really excited to potentially see her there.
I'm excited to see what Sasha Banks Mercedes is going to do this year, because she's just putting out all these hashtags on the TikTok and stuff like that. Lucha Libre, European tour was mentioned. She's going to go everywhere, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do, both inside and outside of the squared circle.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. Chris Jericho news continues now because he's been cast in a horror movie. This is now separate from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yep. What is it, Fraser? You film man.
Oh, I do like my films. I'm a film boy. Deadline is reporting now. If it comes from Deadline, it's absolutely a surefire thing. Okay,
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
Solid news. No, genuinely, right. Yeah. They're one of the great reports from Deadline. And they've reported that Chris Jericho is set to star in a wrestling-themed horror film called Dark Match. Alongside, some names, Aisha Issa, Stephen Ogg, who many people know from Grand Theft Auto 5.
Who did he play?
Trevor. Yeah, it's Trevor.
I know Trevor.
So you'll know Trev. Sarah Canning and Michael Eklund. The film, which recently wrapped, will see a small-time wrestling company accept a high-paying gig in a backwoods town, only to discover that when they arrive, that the community is run by a mysterious cult leader with devious plans for their match. Currently, there's no word on when the film will release. Now, I'm quite excited for this. I think it's going to be one of these proper B-level horror films that are quite... not over the top, but like it knows what it is.
Yeah.
I quite like horror films. I've recently discovered this, and Chris Jericho in one. Sign me up. He was recently in Terrifier 2.
Is that yes? With the thing,
with the clown.
That fella.
No, thank you.
And also, this is going to be on a similar level to CM Punk with his wall that he ate people. The girl on the second floor. I saw that film.
I've not seen that one, but I think it'll have the similar vibe to that sort of.
CM Punk had lost weight for that film, and I thought he looked very reminiscent of Woody from Toy Story, in the eyes and the jaw.
Just fall over whenever
that was my takeaway.
Into the room.
And we're going to end this news video here today with news of a big planned return for the Royal Rumble of 2023. This one comes to us from WrestlingNews.co, and they are reporting several things, Fraser, that do include Roman Reigns defending the undisputed Universal WWE Championship, the UWU, against Kevin Owens, Ronda Rousey taking on Raquel Rodriguez for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Edge returning, but that's not the big return we're referencing, because the big return we're referencing, Fraser, is...
The Demon's back! Possibly. He might be back.
Clarify a bit more.
For Finn Balor.
Finn Balor's demon.
Balor's demon,
You say the demon, that could be anybody.
Yeah, he's whacking the demon out. He's getting the demon out again. I'm excited to see their title. It's been quite a while. I'm trying to think back. When was the last time we saw it? Was it against Reigns?
No, it's when he fell off the top turnbuckle.
Extreme Rules, yeah, when he slipped.
When Sheamus had done the little boogie on the top rope in the match before, then the match after, Demon Balor's up there. You know, he can conquer anything. He's a demon, but he can't
conquer a rope that falls over. And
then he flopped like a fish, didn't he, on the floor?
He did flop like a fish. Yeah, well, it's not only is the match going to see the return of the demon potentially, it's also reported that there's talk of it being a Hell in a Cell match. Now, for a wee while, we've heard rumours that they're possibly going to do a stipulation match at the Royal Rumble. This is maybe a bit more solid confirmation that it's going to be
I'm a big fan of this because it used to do my nipples in, so it did. Danny Magic's nipples, they go hard. My nipple days, they get done in. When you had to wait until October or June, whatever month it was in the time of year for a Hell in a Cell match rather than a feud just culminate to that sort of thing. Because back in our day, Fraser, back in our day, we're the same age.
Oh, yeah.
He used to culminate a blood feud with the Hell in a Cell. That was the worst stipulation he could have had for a singles feud, and I hope we get back to those days. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes down there. It's also going to be interesting to see how the demon gets rationaled into this Judgment Day Finn Balor, who recently has been dressing like Prison Mike.
He's been dressing like
He's been doing time into Clink.
Oh God, he has been doing. Yeah, maybe get them all dressed in demons. Just they're all whacking out.
Please
the
put
demon.
a picture of Prison Mike there so people know what I'm referencing.
Yes.
It's Michael from The Office who brought a character to scare folk.
It just includes Steve Carell in the match as Demon Mike.
Just as the demon's second to just write itself.
Yeah,
doing all that sort of stuff.
I think you've nailed this. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Should we wrap this video up?
Yeah.
On that note, it's not going to get any better. Anything they got to plug? Nothing? Anything?
There's loads of content coming out this week, so stay tuned. I don't want to reveal too much of it just now, but there's a lot of exciting stuff. And go watch the brand new documentary that's out on the channel right now, The Complete History of WWE. Sam, Dan, and Justin did incredible work on it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't want to toot our own horn, but it's one of those videos that's too good for YouTube.
It's really good. I watched it last night and I was blown away by it. Yeah, I'd seen little bits before.
A really, really good job. So it's well worth your time if you want to chop it up into little chunks and watch it in a few sittings. That's good for you as well.
Watch it multiple times?
Yes. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon when we do another thing on the YouTube.